When I was reading to Mother my book, 12 Years with Sri Aurobindo, she heard the whole book. I thought that, you see, she has grown up in age. She couldn't hear properly. I used to shout a bit. Suddenly she said, you don't need to shout to make me hear. You read slowly, clearly, distinctly, no hurry, then I will be able to make out. And that is the way you should always use when you are reading. So I got the clue from there, and it helped me. Now I shall try, if it is possible, to apply that method. Also I got some clue, but which cannot be practiced from my master when he dictated to me, is Savitri. He was very slow, but very clear, very distinct. That was always his way. And you can't reproduce or imitate that speech.
Mother gave me the opportunity of working in Sri Aurobindo's room. All the furniture made in Sri Aurobindo's room, Mother asked me to make that furniture. And after all the furniture was made, she took me and she said, now Udar, she told Sri Aurobindo, Udar, look after the furniture. And he said, all right. So I was allowed to go and work there. And I used to go mostly of the time when Sri Aurobindo was dictating Savitri to Nehru Baran. I was a listener there. Of course, I didn't know anything about Savitri, but it was very beautiful to hear Sri Aurobindo's voice. He had a beautiful voice, a typical English accent, and what I would call a Cambridge accent, and a very beautiful. But he was dictating, he was not reciting. So there is a difference between dictation and reciting. So I can't say that I can copy him because it will make no meaning. But anyway, and then Mother for a long time never told me anything about Savitri. But one day, long time after, she spoke to me very, very strongly. Mother always spoke to me in a stern voice. She said, Udar, Savitri is a mantra for the transformation of the world.
700 and that many pages, almost 24,000 verses, lines. How much time does it take for that whole story to be acted out? Have you ever thought about that? One day.
They came down as a ton of bricks, as it were, if I may say so about him. Realization of the self, you think it is a small thing? You can't have anything unless you realize the self. But the self itself is an aspect of the unknown. So you have to go beyond the realization of the self. And this is because as long as you live in the ignorance, we cannot have the kingdom of knowledge, which is the foundation of the kingdom of heaven and earth.
You know, there's this wonderful passage which Uda recited to us. It's on page 55. Thus will the Mass transcendent mount his throne, when darkness deepens, strangling the earth's breast, and man's corporeal mind is the only lamp. And the process that's described there, it says, a voice ill heard shall speak, the soul obey. There'll be a soul response. And then some hidden power will creep into the mind, and suddenly there'll be a complete new power of beauty and sweetness, which has the power to transform everything, which just conquers all the resistances, which, you know, the vital is only convinced by that overpowering delight and beauty. So according to me, this is the power of Savitri. And it's wonderful for us to just have a tiny contact with it.
Yes, yes.
behind things known. Discover mysteries rear. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality and the miraculous world he has become, and the diviner miracle still to be, when nature, who is now unconscious God, translucent grows to the eternal's light, her seeing his sight, her walk his steps of power, and life is filled with a spiritual joy, and matter is the Spirit's willing bride. Savitri, the poem, the word of Sri Aurobindo, is the cosmic answer to the cosmic question. And Savitri, the person, the Godhead, the divine woman, is the divine's response to the human aspiration.
One can think of Savitri as the essence or the summary of everything that Sri Aurobindo has ever written upon. Or one can look at all his other writings as a commentary on Savitri.
And if you would ask me, what to you is Savitri? I would say is the book of promise. Of somebody who knew, who had gone very far, much farther than people normally assume, and who wrote the promise for mankind.
This knowledge first he had of time-born men, admitted through a curtain of bright mind that hangs between our thoughts and absolute sight. He found the occult cave, the mystic door near to the well of vision in the soul, and entered where the wings of glory brood, in the silent space where all is forever known. A vastness brooded free from sense of space, an everlastingness cut off from time, a stillness absolute, incommunicable. Here seems to be the end of the quest, and one would fain stay there ever and ever in that status, occult, impenetrable, infinite, eternal, unthinkable, alone.
So if we really want to know the complete truth and the uttermost truth of our being, we have to go to the unknowable. Shivendra is quite clear on this. It is some utter truth of what we are.
Yes, there are happy ways near to God's Son, but few are they who tread the sunlit path. Only the pure in soul can walk in light. An exit is shown, a road of hard escape from the sorrow and the darkness and the chain. But how shall a few escaped release the world? The human mass lingers beneath the yoke. Escape, however high, redeems not life, life that is left behind on a fallen earth.
Because all things are global. The divine is global, evolution is global, man is global, and every single act and every atom is global because the divine is in it. All aspects are there, all possibilities are there. It's the foundation of the yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother.
So we have to go beyond the mind, reach to the supermind, get hold of the knowledge of the unknowable by which you can know the unknowable. Sri Aurobindo says in another passage in the Life Divine, the unknowable is not utterly unknowable. So whenever it says unknowable, we mean unknowable to the mind.
Draw back from the surface, withdraw deep within, and enter, 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 go down, down, down into a very deep hole, silent, immobile. And there's a kind of something warm, quiet, rich in substance, and very still, and very full, like a sweetness. That is the soul.
The ego is dead. We are free from being and care. We have done with birth and death and work and fate. This is the voice. We are free now. Encounter, O soul, it is too early to rejoice. Thou hast reached the boundless silence of the self. Thou hast leaped into a glad divine abyss. But where hast thou thrown self's mission, soul's power? On what dead bank on the eternal's road? Hasavati veers round, a new perception, a new consciousness begins to open within him. A new urge moves him. I hope this is all Sri Aurobindo's experience.
Although light grows on earth and night recedes, yet till the evil is slain in its own home, and light invades the world's inconscient base, and perished has the adversary force, he still must labor on, his work half done.
And you see how in this 20th century, the body of mankind has literally been lacerated, murdered, the body of mankind, for something that is to give birth, something essential. If you don't interpret the 20th century as such, you cannot give any interpretation to it. And the Mother has said the whole of the 20th century is one war. And they were in the front of it, the warrior. And she, of course, always avec l'épée de la vérité, l'épée de lumière, the sword of truth, the sword of light.
The ignorant, incomplete human life upon earth, as we sometimes think, is not the be-all and end-all of the life here. That life has to evolve into a life of light and love and joy, perfect here below.
Spirit and body thrilled, identified, linked in the grasp of an unspoken joy. Mind, members, life were merged in ecstasy. Intoxicated as with a nectarous rain, his nature's passioning stretches flowed to her, flashing with lightnings, mad with luminous wine. All was a limitless sea that heaved to the moon. A divinizing stream possessed his veins. His body's cells awoke to spirit sense. Each nerve became a burning thread of joy. Tissue and flesh partook beatitude.
Nature, as it is now, will be transmuted into a new power and radiant substance. Ashwapati is filled with this new urge and inspired by this new vision. He sees and understands now the truth of his life, the goal that has to be achieved, the great dream that has to be realized here upon earth in and through matter.
Consent to be nothing and none. Dissolve time's work. Cast off thy mind. Step back from form and name. Annul thyself, that only God may be.